Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to react to some horror story animations. But before we do that, if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and leave a like and turn on your post notifications bell so that you get updated whenever I post. So let's get into the video. So this one's called Home Invasion Horror Story. I'm creeped out already.
It was a cold, foggy evening when I contacted a close friend of mine to stay at my place for the night. Both of us were only 10 years old at the time, and my parents were often at work until midnight, so I was...
What are you doing leaving your kids at home alone? And they're 10 years old. And you work till midnight. What are you doing? Get a babysitter.
Usually alone with nothing to do except watching a television show or reading a book. My friend Alex had agreed to come over and brought a game of Monopoly to pass some of the time. I also asked if he was interested in going to explore an abandoned subway station 3 miles away.
Don't explore abandoned places when you're bored or alone. Or when you're 10 years old. What are you doing?
He seemed excited at first, so we planned to go on the trip in the morning. I remembered that the subway dated back to the mid-1920s and became abandoned in...
He's so happy when he gets to go to the subway with his friend. Smile!
1932 after the market crash in 1929. I was very fascinated about its history, but never got the chance to go inside after my parents had warned me not to enter. As I quietly slept in my bed, I heard what sounded like a gunshot coming from the forest behind the house. Both of us woke up, frightened after what we had heard, and I told my friend not to worry, as hunters tend to go into the forest on frequent occasions, but when I checked the time, it was 11:39 p.m. This seemed very unusual, as hunters only came into the forest between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. I looked at Alex and decided to get out of my bed, intending to look through the window and spot for anyone in the forest. The darkness clouded my vision, so I was unable to see anyone in the forest.
I can't even see it.
I turned around and looked at Alex again, when suddenly I heard the front door squeak open. Chills went down my spine. Both of us quietly moved to the bathroom, locked the door, and kept the light off. It was the only safe place in the house. Both of us were terrified as we desperately tried to keep as calm as we could. We heard footsteps getting louder and louder until they stopped in front of the bathroom door. And then this is when the most terrifying sound forced my heart to almost burst. Both of us screamed as the person chopped the door to pieces. It was pitch black inside the room, making it hard to find the vent, and by the time I spotted the vent, the person behind the door had made a hole.
Holy crap, he looks so creepy. Who does he look like? He reminds me of someone, but I can't really remember his name. If you guys do you know this guy, comment down below.
Big enough for us to see him. The man adorned black leather and was wearing a plague doctor mask. I scurried back to the vent, but it was too high above the floor for us to reach it, so Alex told me to go first because he was the strongest. He lifted me up on his shoulders, allowing me to open the vent and crawl inside. When I looked at the door again, the man...
Alex is such a great friend. He is such a great friend.
And had managed to fit his arm through the hole and reached for the lock. I quickly grabbed Alex's hand, but struggled to pull him up into the vent.
Alex!
I shouted, and began going after him. I pursued the figure until I was led to the abandoned subway deep within the forest. It was chilly and foggy, meaning that I could only see objects within a range of 5 or 6 yards. Inside the subway was a pool of freezing cold water. It was so dark that I couldn't see anything. I had to rely on listening to the screams from Alex and track the source. As I slowly walked through the subway, I was now struggling to breathe under the intense stress and fear of the situation. Alex! I called, but there was no response. I continued walking through the water until the exit was no longer visible. I was now experiencing a massive panic attack. I had lost track of Alex, and I had no idea where I was or how to get out.
Oh, poor guy.
Where are you, Alex?
Whoa. Oh hanging from the ceiling. Oh. I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. Can you see this? You can't see anything. I can't see it, but that is creepy, guys. Okay, so now we're gonna react to another video, so let's go. Okay, so this one's called A College Horror Story.
It was an early morning. My campus didn't offer housing and I lived about a half a mile from school, so I started my journey as usual while playing on my phone. I glanced up to see an old man heading towards me.
Do not play your phone when you're walking. It's just common knowledge, you know, just do not do it.
On a bicycle. Normally, I'd step aside to let bikers and skaters pass, but he braked instead. I stopped too, wondering if there was something wrong. He walked up to me and said, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you."
God, I'm getting
I
chills.
felt chills instantly. I didn't know what to think. I just looked up at him with a fearful and confused expression. I was gathering up the courage to tell him that I was late for class and I should go, but before I could say anything, he said, "Get off the grass!"
Whoa.
Looking down, I noticed I had stepped over towards the road and onto the grass. I stepped off slowly and he said, "You wouldn't want to step on any bugs or get your shoes dirty now, would you?"
Jeez.
He raised his finger and asked me what my name was. I told him, and he replied, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you." The same chills ran through my body
I'm getting
again,
chills too.
but before I could say anything, the man said, "Get off the grass! You wouldn't want to step on any bugs or get your shoes dirty now,
Why
would
are you
you?"
repeating words?
I looked down to see that I was back on the edge of the sidewalk again. This had to be deja vu. He asked for my name once more. I said my name again, but he interrupted me before I could finish. He told me his grandchildren are down the road and needed gas money. I told him I didn't have any spare change or any change at all for that matter. He continued to ask me again and I gave him the same answer. Eventually I headed towards my school. I turned to see if he was still there, but he was gone. As I was walking, I approached the intersection. There was a truck on its side. It must have tipped over while turning the corner.
Oh my god. It's the man, it's the biking man. Wow. That is creepy. Oh my god. Okay. Just be careful on the road and don't talk to any old mans. That's my advice to you. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and make sure you subscribe if you're new and follow me on my social medias. The link will be in the description below. And I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!